Script interpretation, day 1, class 1. So this class was mostly lecture-based. Our instructor, Maureen Megabo, and she started the class by asking us, what is script interpretation? And somebody very funnily said, interpretation of the script. And she was like, yeah, well, that is an inversion of the words. And then somebody else said, actually it was me, I said, well, script interpretation is figuring out what is the emotional landscape of a character, what is happening for that person at an emotional level, such that they are choosing the words that they're going to speak. And she built on that, Maureen built on that definition, and what stood out to me is this observation. She said, it's the reason behind the words, so what's happening emotionally, for the character to choose the words that he or she is choosing. And what stood out to me is, you know how a lot of people say that to study acting is to study psychology, and in fact a lot of people who are into acting then study psychology. And it became very clear to me, one example was the type of communication that I've been practicing with my partner, and even in my friendships and all other relationships, has been, instead of just saying, for example, I'm upset with you, or instead of just saying like, well, good morning, with being angry at them, I'll ask myself, well, why am I angry? Or what is this really about? And then I'll dig deeper and I'll say, well, it's because yesterday I felt that you spoke to me in a certain way, and I told myself the story that this is what was happening. And then I'll dig deeper, and then the communication that I've been practicing with those around me is, instead of doing that, well, good morning, I hope you're doing well, being angry, instead of doing that, digging deeper and saying, I'm feeling hurt because of something that happened yesterday, can we talk about it? So that has been my maturity from in my mid-20s. And so it's going like, I as an individual, I'm digging deeper into my emotions to figure out what's actually there, and I've attempted to communicate that to my partner and those people around me. And what this seems to suggest is the reverse of that. So as an actor, you have the script, and that through the script you get to ask, well, why is this person saying that? And then you come up with an emotion or with an objective or an action. And then why is that? And then you dig deeper such that you can recreate that emotional experience, and then say the words. I'm not sure if that came out as I had it played in my head, but that was the main gist of it, right? So I think that the assumption underlying it is that it is what happens by way of the text. So Maureen kept saying, don't do anything to the words. So, and that really resonated with me. She said that as actors, you will be tempted to do something to the words, to say good morning, or to try to change the intonation of the word. But she said, don't do anything to the word. Instead, figure out what is happening at an emotional level, what is triggering, whatever is being triggered in you. And then the character happens to choose those words, because that actually mimics life. That is how life happens. And that was incredibly powerful. Then we moved on to what's going to be our first play, which is Henrik Ibsen's A Dollhouse. And for those of you who don't know, A Dollhouse is a story written in the 1880s, I believe, by Henrik Ibsen. It is considered the birth of modern realism. And it's the story of this middle-class family where a husband and wife, and they have kids, and the wife has taken out a loan without the husband knowing in order to save his life. And at the end of the play, he finds out about this, and he gets really angry with her. She did it for love, but he feels that she has ruined everything for them, and she decides to leave him. Now, the questions that Maureen asked us, I think, are very revealing of course, of the technique that she's teaching us. And she started first by understanding the idea of marriage. Like she said, let's first understand the context of marriage. So these two people are connected because they are married. So what does that mean? And then what is the exchange that happens between them? And she asked us, in this day and age, and she did something really interesting. She didn't talk about the 1880s, and I think because she understood that we wouldn't understand, so she said present day. He works and she pursues her career and doesn't earn money. We understand that. Now it's interesting to note that she said he as in the collective he, she as in the collective she, and we as in the collective society, which I thought was really interesting. Because if I think of a political science class or an anthropology class or history class, that would be very problematic to do, but I can see why it's very useful that she did that. And she said, we as a society understand that. However, if she's earning and he is not making money and she's supporting him, we, the collective we, are not okay with that. In 2016, we are still not okay with that. Why is that? And then through a discussion, it came to the point where we believe that if he's getting sex, he has to pay for it. But if she's supporting him, what is she getting out of it? So she got us thinking about, I think what she was doing, or what I got out of it, was it's very easy to try to play a play and be like, oh, I'm in the 1880s now. But instead she said, forget about that. You need to start with yourself. What do you understand of marriage? And she said, arguably, it hasn't changed very much. Sure, there's more freedom and you can have sex before marriage and women and men can earn. But if you look at it, the contract of marriage is still important. So what I took away from that is to understand that the story is what happens by way of the words. And therefore, script interpretation is understanding what is that context and what is that situation. So that was the day. And then it's going to tie very beautifully into what we do in the next class.